I found an interesting article today. It's from the Public Discourse, and it is called "A Married Mum and Dad Really Do Matter. New Evidence from Canada." Children from lesbian couples are only about 65% as likely to have graduated from high school as married heterosexual couples. Girls in particular struggle in these families. Now, this cannot be explained by wealth or the parents' education, because these lesbian couples have higher education than heterosexual couples, which makes sense when you think about it, because if you go through IVF or adoption, you need a certain level of education to know about it, and a certain level of dedication to gain the goal. Furthermore, this result is despite lesbian couples being more likely to enroll in school, and yet they still struggle, so the more likely to attend, the less likely to get the right grades. Girls living in gay households are only 15% as likely to graduate as compared to opposite-sex homes. Interestingly, boys that live in gay households are more likely to graduate in gay households than in lesbian households, and for girls it is the opposite. So this is quite a contrast to the media and the way they portray the family as the father being somewhat unnecessary. However, these results show that it's not quite that simple. In fact, I believe that it is the opposite. I think that fathers are probably more important than the mother. And the reason I say this is because if you look at it from a statistical point of view, there's a lot of child abuse in single mother households. In fact, in this article, they say that lesbian couples do even worse than single mother households, which is quite spectacular, really. Now, I believe that the quality of parenting is obviously the most important thing, and unfortunately, I think that most mothers today are not high caliber. Not only are they more likely to abuse their children than fathers, but they're also more likely to enact sexist attitudes, particularly on boys. And I speak from personal experience. I think I had a very good mother, but I do remember her enacting sexist attitudes to me. For instance, my older sister would often fight me when I was a young kid. She was about 4 or 5 years older than me. What I remember is that no matter who started the fight, it always ended the one way, and that was my mother came over, and she would hit me. And it was never the opposite. It was my sister. She never laid a finger on my sister, and that is a sexist attitude being enacted. I also remember from personal experience that my mother was less likely to help me out with homework and stuff like that, whereas she was much more willing with my sisters. Not that I'm resentful, but I do think that mothers are more likely to socialize the sons in a certain way, and I think that's the same with child abuse as well. I think that boys are far more likely to be abused by the mother because they're more hyperactive and because they are seen as more in need of discipline, should we say. I don't think I don't think these results are particularly damning. I mean, it is early days as far as the homosexual and lesbian community when it comes to raising children. I do think, though, that there is problems with the lesbian community in particular, because there is, statistically speaking, they're more likely to be domestic violence amongst lesbians than there are in gay couples. And I think that kind of speaks volumes in heterosexual domestic violence as well, because female on man abuse isn't just not reported. It's not taken seriously. So overall, it's nice to have an article that doesn't basically say men are not needed, and an article which puts it into perspective. We know that single mothers do poorly compared to men. We know it's not just wealth. So that's my opinion. Thanks for listening. All the references are in the description.